ロサンゼルスドジャースはデトロイトタイガースからタリク・スクーバルを獲得し、先発ローテーションのさらなる強化に成功しました。さらにメッツとのトレードでベン・ロートベットを獲得したことも発表しています。熱狂的なメッツファンの2人が出演するポッドキャスト番組 Why Am I a Mets Fan では、今回のトレード期限における最大の取引としてドジャースによるスクーバル獲得を取り上げました。出演者たちはドジャースがまたしても最高級の選手を手に入れたことに対し、腹が立ってきた、もう疲れてきたと発言。呆れと羨望が入り混じった反応を見せています。また ESPN の番組では、山本由伸とスクーバルのどちらがドジャースのエースなのかをテーマに白熱した議論が繰り広げられました。これらの模様を日本語字幕付きでご紹介します。
Okay, moving on down the list. I am sorry, I actually do not know how to pronounce this guy's name, so I'm going to let you take it because I don't want to mess it up.
Ben Rortvedt, the Mets and the Dodgers dance a little dance today. Hello, Dodgers fans. We have more to say. Actually, this just opens our Dodgers segment. Yes, the former Yankees catcher who had been in AAA here in Syracuse for some of the season with the Mets now, Ben Rortvedt, was sent to the Dodgers. They needed some catching depth. They sent the Mets back in return a fellow named Chase McDermott. McDermott is a 27-year-old righty who had a 4.55 ERA in AAA this year. He has had 3 stints in the big leagues throughout his career. A 4.55 ERA in AAA doesn't tantalize me. I guess neither does Ben Rortvedt. I don't know. That one was kind of just, in terms of all the other things today and yesterday, that one's pretty minute.
Okay, pretty low on the list. Speaking of not low on the list.
Speaking of highest on the list.
We just put it more towards the end because it happened not as recently as some of the other things that we discussed. But the Dodgers also got Tarik Skubal from the Tigers. Obviously, when you think about this entire trade deadline, and admittedly, it was a whirlwind, it was a doozy. This is the top of the list, which is really infuriating once again. I'm starting to get honestly upset a little bit.
Fatigue setting in.
Yeah, fatigue is a good word. They acquired the 2-time Cy Young winner in exchange for an outfielder and 2 right-hand pitchers. They add him to a rotation that leads the majors in ERA and a team that leads the majors in run differential. Before him, the projected playoff rotation was Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and Shohei Ohtani. It is now just a rotation that gets even better, even bigger, and even scarier. You put a bullet here that says they largely kept their farm system intact. True, they also have this great deep farm system, which is another part of it. I think this is one of those where you're looking at it like, wow, congratulations once again, and congrats to the Dodgers. But it is amazing how many times they are continuously winning out with some of the competitive advantages they have fairly built.
I mean, raise your hand if you were shocked by this news. If you were surprised, Skubal to the Dodgers, because I feel as though approximately no one was. Now listen, if you have the resources, and they evidently do, great. But how this continues to, this is the reigning back-to-back American League Cy Young winner that everybody's had their eyes on for a couple of years because you knew the Tigers weren't going to sign him in free agency, right? Mm-hmm. And you gave up, I think it was their number 5, number 8 prospects.
Yep,
but
5th and 8th.
Then, Hope was the 3rd best outfielder on his team in AA Tulsa. Ryan has only pitched sparingly the past few years. Some of those prospects they gave up. Now you just look at, the wealth and the extent of the pitching depth that the Dodgers have is so unbelievable. You just listed off, obviously, they have Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, Ohtani is hurt. Who knows if he comes back? Maybe they made this move, honestly, because they're not sure of Ohtani's pitching status down the stretch and into the playoffs. But you could even throw Justin Robleski in there. They're going to have to, frankly, axe guys from the playoff rotation. There's going to, I guess, probably be some tough choices on who gets to start in the playoffs because they're just so loaded.
Great problem to have.
Great problem to have. You can't fault the Dodgers for it. You can't blame them for it. Obviously, they are just firing on all cylinders as an organization from top to bottom. And you have to respect that. The flip side of the coin is teams continuing to dance with the Dodgers like this and to, in my eyes, not even get a gigantic haul. A good haul, but not a great haul if you're the Detroit Tigers, okay? it's fascinating to me because we all know, and I know I'm prepared to take some heat from this in the comments from our Dodgers fans. That's all right. I'm trying to speak objectively. Like, we all know what's possibly around the corner next year in terms of the lockout and discussions about a salary cap, a salary floor, the whole 9 yards. No, it's not the Dodgers' fault solely. Obviously, the Mets spent big this last offseason. The Yankees did whatever. There's payrolls north of $400 million. But I guess to just continue to see the top talent all go to one place, when does that hit a wall? And what is the wall? You know?
And I don't necessarily have the answers to those questions yet. I really don't. But I know it's tough. It's like, cause the more you say, like, I understand any Dodgers fan who feels like, well,
that's all right.
If your team was
Certainly.
like, honestly, easy for you to say when your owner spends the second most and your team sucks.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I get that. Like, I would understand any of those criticisms or critiques. I'm not at that point yet where I feel like, this is so horrible, and like the Dodgers may win a few more World Series here, but at some point you do get to a place where you do want a sport that has a lot of parity. Now, luckily, baseball is the kind of sport that is so interesting and different and unique like that. Like, the best teams don't always win. It has a lot more parity than other sports, which is helpful. But yes, to see just this monstrous team just continue to go out there and shell out $1 bajillion and get the best players in all of baseball, it does raise larger questions about the game of baseball and what's going to have to happen here next season.
And just so we're clear, like I said, you respect it from the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
If I was the Dodgers, I'd continue to do it. If I was a Dodger fan, I would continue to support it. Of course, it's great. But I guess just my larger point is, for the good of the game, does that need to be spread around? I don't know. I mean, even last year in the playoffs, there still is parity to a degree, right? You're seeing the Brewers in the playoffs. You're seeing the Mariners in the playoffs. You're seeing teams without this huge payroll be successful, albeit not raising the World Series trophy, but very successful to the end. So, no, it's not all on the Dodgers. I think if there's a lockout next year and if there's a salary cap floor discussions, like, some of that falls on Steve Cohen. Some of that falls on, the Yankees and the Steinbrenner and all that. So I think there's blame to be spread around. I think the Dodgers are the 2-time reigning World Series champion. I mean, now they're better than they were 3 days ago, and that's not even the only move that they made today. So you respect what's going on in Los Angeles, and you just wish that was your team, right?
Yeah, of course. That's all you can say. You wish it was your team. I'd also understand the Dodgers fans who are like, hey, if you look at last year, I mean, it was a great team, and they almost didn't win the World Series. They actually probably shouldn't have won the World Series. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And for so long, it looked like they weren't even going to. So it has nothing to do with that. I mean, they played a great series. They won that World Series fair and square, like the whole 9 yards. But it is just interesting to see this pattern, and you wonder what kinds of conversations that all of the owners and decision makers are going to be having in regards to this.
Certainly.
That's all we're trying to say.
Yamamoto, Skubal, Ohtani, Snell, Glasnow. There are your 5 starters, which, by the way, you only need 4. You only need 4. Yeah. So one of those guys doesn't get a start in the postseason. Wow. Okay? Yeah. So and basically, maybe it takes, as we always say, these things tend to take care of themselves. They do. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's Ohtani and he's just not ready to go. Okay, then problem solved. Or
it's Ohtani with a piggyback of Tyler Glasnow. Ohtani does not go more than 6 innings usually. So now let's say he goes 5 or 6.
Does anybody other than Yamamoto and Skubal?
Yamamoto, Skubal, and Snell can go into the 7th inning. He can.
He pitches 10 innings a year.
But then he's going to be but he's going to be in the postseason. He's going to pitch though. He can be piggybacked by Justin Robleski or Roki Sasaki or something like that. The 2 guys that your number 1 and 2 starter are going to be Skubal and Yamamoto, and they're the ones that are going to go deep.
Not that it matters. But it kind of matters as just as far as the optics and the egos and those sort of things. Who gets the ball in the first game of the playoffs?
I asled Greg Yamamoto. That question too.
Yamamoto.
On merit, maybe, but I think if you're slotting and trying to figure out how do we line this up for a potential game 7, then maybe it's Skubal. I don't know.
Yamamoto.
So
game 1, he's your guy.
Yamamoto was the game 2 starter last year. He was game 2 starter, then he pitched in game 6, and then he pitched again in game 7. So they may do something different.
Yamamoto. Does it matter who pitches game 7?
Well,
Cy Young
it was
Shohei that pitched the start of game
7. Yeah.
But I think that it's Yamamoto for what to your point, he was the game 2 starter last year, but this isn't last year. This is after he basically said, everybody get out of my way.
Guy.
I'm here to show you why I'm here. And I don't think that anybody takes that for granted. And look, I don't think anybody's looking down their nose if it is Skubal, but Yamamoto was still the guy in this city, on this team, on that mound.
No, so Yamamoto to me is the best pitcher in baseball. I don't care what your numbers say. I don't care if he doesn't throw 104 miles an hour like Jacob Mizorowski. I don't care what other metric you're looking at. The best pitcher in baseball is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So if he happens to be the number one starter
Especially
or the
with the game
two
on the
starter,
line.
especially if you have one game and you
The
want a
numbers
starting
don't say
pitcher,
that. How can you say that?
no, because
every time he's had to have it, he's always got it.
when the lights are the brightest, he shows up and he shows up hard. Like he comes out and he does exactly what he needs to do. He pitched on Game 7 after he pitched in Game 6.
You know what we always leave out of that too, and everything you said is right, but you know what we always just skip over? He was warming up in Game 3 in that 18-inning game.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he went down. He was down in the bullpen. I know they said that Rojas was next. I tend to think probably not because it was the World Series.
Right. You're not
but
pitching a position
Yamamoto
player.
was up to pitch in 5 of those games.
Yeah.
That's
wild.
There was only 2 games where he was not a part of it.
Ride him.
That's insane.
is
So how much
wild.
hate
with
have
the,
you-
with
how
the
much
game
hate-
on the line, you can pick any pitcher in baseball right now. You're going to pick someone other than Yamamoto?
I might go with the Miz because the
He's
dude
never-
throws 1,000 miles an hour.
Haven't seen it in the postseason.
I know, but I mean,
Haven't seen it in the World
Yamamoto would
Series.
be in the convo, but I think I might pick that thing.
The best part about the Dodgers getting Skubal is that the Dodgers don't have to face Skubal.
100%.
That's true.
In particular, they don't have to face him, to your point, DeMarco, on the back end of a Mizorowski Skubal 1-2 punch. And that's the thing. If I were a Brewer fan, I would be thinking, look, I know that it's risky to the future that we talked about. We actually, with Skubal, we have a chance to win a real chance to win the World Series. That Skubal, Mizorowski can beat anybody. And they just said, nah, prices. You look at the price of Ryan, Hope, and Smith. That's not an exorbitant price.
And they absolutely could have matched it. We talked about it this morning, Marcus, but at the same time, like all these prospects are nothing. Like you don't even know what they're going to be. You don't know that they're going to come up and be anything whatsoever.
The odds are overwhelmingly against them being anything.
It's right. Chris Rose was on the morning show this morning, and he said that he went back and looked. They only have 5 guys on their team that are actually homegrown. This is not This is not a team that's homegrown. They bring players in through free agency, through trades, just like everybody else.
Why do you spend so much in your farm system?
So what the Dodgers do is they trade them all away to get bigger players and better players.
They trade away their marginal major leaguers for other minor leaguers that they flip for stars like Skubal. That the way that this thing went down, I know I'm repeating myself a little bit. They traded Matt Beattie and Michael Bush for Tarik Skubal.
Yeah.
That's what they traded for Tarik Skubal.
Yeah.
Basically, they took their marginal major league talent, said, I'll take some of your minor league guys. You need some major leaguers. Here, you take these guys. We'll take these guys who never showed up in the big leagues. Ryan, very briefly.
Yep.
And basically said, we'll take the best guy in the league. I mean, it's bonkers.
For all these people coming out and saying, like, oh, this move is the one that's going to ruin baseball. You're telling me a trade is going to ruin baseball? That's the reason we're going to this work stoppage? Because of a trade?
The one
Get
that
out of
drives
here.
me the most crazy. If they win, they're going to shut it down. But if they don't, we won't. Like,
no,
huh?
he will. It was happening.
What?
This is all for the owners to say, oh, look, we need a salary cap. And they don't actually want it. Nobody's that's never going to happen. This has nothing to do with the Dodgers and making a trade for Tarik Skubal.
Look, we'll 3 in a row,
got
and
his
then
name right.
we'll just